In this speech, I'm going to persuade you into thinking that the SAT and ACT should not be required when coming to college. I'll first inform you on what the ACT and SAT is and the stress that can come along with it. Next, I'll talk about what colleges here in Georgia require this. And last, I'll persuade you why it should not be required and what a solution to this is. Have you ever taken a test where that test determines on if you get into college or not? Then let me tell you about the ACT and SAT. According to educationalplanner.org, the ACT measures what a student already knows. It covers the materials that the student should have learned during all 4 years of high school. As to the SAT, it is used more as a predictor of what the student is capable of learning. It deals with the material that the student may not have learned in high school yet. So, when coming as a senior in high school and you're getting ready for college and you're taking the SAT and ACT score or test, the ACT is testing you over what you have learned all 4 years of high school. That's since you were a freshman. That's every single course you have taken, you're going to be tested over. That's a lot of material. As to the SAT, the material on that test, you may not have even covered it. You may not have learned it, you don't know what's going to be on it, and there's not a right way to study for it. So, with all of that, that can cause testing anxiety. What is testing anxiety? Testing anxiety is something that during the test, you have racing thoughts, inability to concentrate, and even some physical symptoms, such as fast heartbeat, headache, and nausea. So, when coming to take these two tests, we're not very prepared. And Alexander Shaw, an English teacher from Standardized Tests, calls students to feel pressure and stress, states that the SAT and ACT can be stressful because students are not able to study the exact material that is on this test. So, if you're not even able to study what's on this test, then they should be preparing you for this test as early as a freshman in high school. But according to Samaya Kayla, also from Standardized Tests, calls students to feel pressure, stress, states that since there is a lot more emphasis on these standardized tests, schools should start preparing kids as early as the 8th grade. So due to the lack of preparation for these big tests, this is one of the main reasons it should not be required to get into college. But here in Georgia, one of the biggest schools is the University of Georgia, and it requires these scores for first-year students, along with other schools such as Augusta University, Georgia College, Georgia Tech, Kennesaw, and many others. So, when going into college, not all colleges require this test, but the big ones do. As just said, not all colleges require these big scores, and that's how it should be for every single college. It shouldn't be required because this causes so much stress and anxiety and causes them not to do well on these big tests. So, Sonia Liu from Standardized Tests should hate test optional admissions policies states that research shows that standardized tests do not accurately measure one's intelligence. That is another reason that it should not be required to get into college. But another minor one is the cost. These tests cost money, and I'm not just talking $10 to $15. No, I'm talking $80 to $90. Now, in a wealthy family, this might not be a problem, and this might not have an issue. But to someone who doesn't have as much money, this could be a problem. These are the type of tests that you don't just take once. You take these tests multiple times, 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, however many you want, to have to get to the score that you need to get into your college and to even possibly get some scholarships. So, as said before, there's no certain material when it's getting into these, there's no certain material to study when coming to these big tests. So due to that, the students don't even know the material. when coming into colleges, that's not is how it's going to be. So a solution to this problem is that these colleges, instead of looking at these big ACT and SAT scores, they need to look at what the student has done in the classrooms. Not only is their grades, but how is their testing average in those classrooms and within those circumstances. This is because these students are able to study for this test, they know the material that is on it, and they can be prepared and they can be fully confident in the test that they're going to be taking. This is the same way in how college courses are going to be. You're going to be given some material to study and the material that is on the test. Therefore, these big ACT and SAT test scores should not be the reason they do not get into college. So, would you really want your child to put themselves down because they didn't get into a big college due to the scores on this one test? No parent wants to see their kid get so discouraged because they didn't get a good enough score on one SAT or SAT to get into their dream school. So join me in helping stopping the SAT and ACTs from preventing someone from going to college when they are more than capable and more than smart to get into these colleges. Thank you.